Yeah, don't install their updates on the Google. You haven't gotten email me. Don't give them their Mac. We'll load it up.
So I think we should all send
Ralph an email.
no, I think we should send the overriding saying thanks for making the impact immediately.
Well, there's like a 75% chance that it will just install and then a power outage will take my box down over the weekend.
You have a desktop too, don't you? Yeah, so I have a laptop that would only survive for an hour or two. I think we could start sending Ralph some
I can't believe the AV uses the file.
I'm unsurprised by that.
Well, I mean, you have the hash there. I could see if you didn't have the hash.
We've identified use of primary systems that require remediation. Best advice is do not reboot. Help desk will not find failure system requires remediation. We've developed a faster remediation process to take roughly 2 hours for the system to run back. First complete pack
In the future, always unplug your Mac from there before going. Yeah, I see. Did you get an email from Joaquim Yeah, George kind of bought us out the other day. It doesn't matter. We can safely ignore it, in my opinion. He felt like we were transitioning out from very effectively.
We covered that a little bit in the meeting we had with Alex.
Yeah, so George was saying he was getting pressure. She was making that.
Hello. Dave's not in the room, so I'm going to be replacing him for 2 seconds. We're going to have Rafael and Joaquim talk about hilarity with Cisco routers and basically how to build your own little mini Intel collection agency. It should be fun.
Hello. Our speech is called MIMOSAWRITERROUTER. It's a fancy name. Let's see. What is MIMOSAWRITERROUTER? It's we're going to abuse this functionality on Cisco called EPC, Embedded Packet Capture, to collect some intelligent data or to collect some malwares or to collect some credentials in a pen test approach.
The name comes from NSA name generator website, so it's very funny.
It's true.
But in Brazil, Mimosa is a very famous call. It's like it's very fun, and we take a decision to put that slide because in Brazil everybody asks, "What's his name? What's his name?" So this name came from NSA name generator.
It's like how redneck people call in Brazil, Mimosa. Let's go, agenda. Some bit about us, introduction, motivation, what's EPC, how EPC works, and how you use this functionality. Mimosa, what is Mimosa? It's a framework to abuse this functionality or approach, and some potential future and conclusion to that. But us, me, Rafael, you talk to me on Twitter with my handle, and CTO at Story2E, and like the business, surfing, geo chips.
I'm security consultant, more focused on pen tests, and I work for a specific company. So,
He quit from Trustwave last week.
yes. So, and I'm blue belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Like white belt. Introduction motivation.
So in 2009, I speak in Hackers to Hackers. It's a very famous conference in Brazil. Say no. So I'm talking about GRE tunnel. So it's a very old technique to sniff remote networks. So, of course, using Cisco routes. But in this case, this technique requires some specific tools, like specific equipments, like another router, IP public. So after that, Rafael told me about the EPC.
Yeah, when Joaquim talked in H2HC, I told to him, Joaquim, this technique is it's not expensive, but it's pretty dangerous to do in a pen test approach, because you will not put the data of the customers to external network, of course. And you have this functionality called EPC, and you can abuse this functionality to collect some data, to collect some big data or some intel data. In 2010, 11, 2013, you hack the planet, but the real thing is hacking the customers, of course. And today we're going to release the code to show to the crowd. That's it. EPC, Embedded Packet Capture, is the ability to capture IPv6 and IPv4 packets. You have a flexible method to capture both in size type. You can choose how many megas or how many gigabytes the buffer is still the full, and the size of the buffer. You need exact level commands like Cisco enable commands. You can show, of course, some tiny content of the buffer on the command line of the router, but it's not reliable, it's not readable. It's some fancy stuff to read. And this facility to export the capture in PCAP format is the best feature that EPC have to abuse that. You can see later. You now have extensive infrastructure to enable factory capture points, because when you are abusing this functionality, you can create a lot of capture points in one router. Maybe I have to capture some network or some interface. I can start a capture point for some interface, or start another capture point to some another interface, or to some like protocol like HTTP or FTP or POP. The abuse is the ability to capture, of course, is the sniffing, a flexible method for specifying the capture buffer size. You can choose the sniffer buffer size. This is very important to a capture. You can see. You need some hacking, of course, to enable or to export some Cisco 0-day maybe, or some Cisco lane password. In showdown, you get a lot of these routers to test. As I said, you can sneaking on the fly, you can show the contents of the buffer inside the router. And this ability to export the PCAP format, you can make your PCAP farm server to analyze a lot of gigabit data to get some intelligence threats. I can't believe it when I studied the EPC documentation with Cisco. When I see, then you can export the PCAP, of course, the content of the buffer in a PCAP format to a remote location. Don't believe that. Really? To a remote location? This sounds interesting. And of course, our network belongs to us, because when you get access on a router, when you make some pen test, it's some difficult to make some useful thing when you have access to this router, because or you make some GRNet tunnels to make some external infrastructure to sniffing the data, but this sounds interesting. How the EPC works. It's a couple of commands. It's pretty simple to do that. In the first capture here, we create the buffer. Name is Mimosa, and the buffer size and the maximum size. We're gonna talk after what is linear and circular. You can define a capture point, like you can capture all interface and in and out, or capture PVC, PV4, all on the same buffer. And you can associate the capture point to our buffer, because this you can create a lot of capture points and a lot of to preempt a lot of buffers, of course.
And you need to associate a point of capture to a buffer, because we can export on the buffer after the capture. Of course, we can have a lot of points of interception and export this point interception to a buffer. And after that, you export the buffer from a remote location. So here we have the type of the buffer that I guess in the next slide. We have two types of capture. We have the linear, we have the circular. The linear, when the buffer is full, the capture will stop. So we have less impact in the performance of the router, because the memory of the Cisco routers is very limited. And so when you change this from a circular, the buffer will be overwritten with the new packets. So the new packets overwrite the old packets, and this impact a little bit in the performance of the router, and we can, the administrator can see that and cut your access.
Yeah, this functionality was created by Cisco to make some network troubleshooting from sysadmin, of course. The important thing here is that for our approach, linear buffer is working perfectly for us, because when you capture some buffer and you stop the buffer and you export the buffer to a remote location, circular buffer is still writing, and you, of course, you get lost a lot of data.
With the circular buffer, we have more packets broken. So when you sniff with linear buffer, when the buffer is full, the point of capture stop with the last complete packet. So we have less packets broken.
Yeah. Something here that I want to talk is what, when you are, imagine you are making some pen test and you like to capture some issues file or a document file. When you use circular buffer, of course you lost these packets, because when you use linear buffer, when the guy, imagine a guy access behind the router Cisco, of course, behind the network, when we send maybe a important document to another people, when you use circular buffer, you lost this capture, of course. When you use linear buffer, you can imagine this buffer. This is how can I say you can show the content capture inside on the Cisco router, but it's not reliable. You can see some hexacode and a lot of stuff that you cannot tracking or some exporting or some real buffer. Here is the main thing, the ability to export the PCAP format to a remote location in all of these types, HTTP, FTP, a lot of options. So we export the text here to Dave's machine. Of course, it's a joke. So let's go. What is Mimosa framework?
Framework is a good name because it looks like a worm, okay? So it's a Cisco worm that we have a CNC that we insert always routers from your customers. So we have the collectors and we have the Mimosa process that are just a set of Python scripts that pass these PCAPs looking for credentials, files,
some malwares and
social network ID.
cookies.
Yes.
When you make some pen tests and you are like, oh, okay, I get access on the Cisco router, what can I do with the Cisco routers, or not mirror the threat, but when you are boosting this functionality, you get a lot of information useful from pen tests, like credentials, like user agents to see what the user inside the network is, say they update the browsers, the Flash version, the Java version. You can do a lot of metrics with these collectors. This antivirus versions. This collector here is pretty interesting because all of information is inside these collectors. In these collectors, you can export in a reliable format, of course, a lot of this Intel data. And the Mimosa parser is a bunch of code like PC credits from Lohan. We get some patch on his code to collect this data like credentials, files, emails, cookies, session, audio files from VoIP communications. You can extract these too.
Here we have the screenshot from Mimosa. That's similar to Metaxploit. Okay, it's a command line tool. when you insert the router, insert the repo, external repo that can be FTP, HTTP, HTTPS, and we start and stop the collect. We can, behind this Mimosa, we have a MongoDB to persist the data, so you can set tons of routers with weak password or default passwords, and Mimosa start to collect that routers and collect that, start to collect and export the PCAPs from our repository. So after that, our Mimosa run the process and show, and now it's a text output.
Yes.
But after we think in
Sounds pretty road. We're going to make a dashboard, like do some better visualization. In our test, in this code, we test like 400 routers, and the code is still pretty works good. We got some stats like how many gigabytes and how many terabytes you can collect it using these framework. This framework is, we're gonna put some attack options like brute forcing or exploit some CVR that don't know what Cisco were vulnerable. And some results we get to our customers. All these results get customers in Brazil. It's pretty interesting to analyze this because a lot of machines are infected with Iran Trojans, China Trojans, a lot of weird stuff. We find it in our customers, yeah, Baidu Trojan. Here we find this URL, make some push or some get to this file in PHP. And when you analyze the content of the packet here, the get, we upload, of course, the URL and the file to the VirusTotal, and detecting rating is 4.62, is pretty good to the approach. Of course, this worm here, and he have a lot of hosting to collect some data. These particular worms here collect POP credentials. And this is in PHP. It's a post. He collects some credentials, make a post to this file, and collect Amazon the credentials, of course, on the side of the attacker.
Of course, we have always this malware file in our repository that when I run the process in my Windows machine, my antivirus start to alert. So it's very fun.
When I get a lot of PCAPs to analyzing, just analyzing the PCAPs, we have a lot of threatening information. As Joaquim said, our antivirus for our virtual machines start to pop up. Hey, this is dangerous, this is dangerous, this is dangerous. Just analyzing the PCAPs, not extracting some data. Of course, you can use T-Shark or Bro. It's some two network analyzers to extracting files like images, document files, credential files, a lot of information. Here we got some guy trying to exploit shell shock and user agent going to this IP, it's a uname and get the result, of course, to this device, to this IP in the HTTP port. Here we collected a lot of credentials POP from our customers, of course, analyzing the packet. The main thing here, when you make some pen test and you are having a hard way, like, I'm not into this pen test, but when you get access to the router, you can get a lot of information like POP password, FTP password. You're not able to send some Trojan to the client. Just when you get access to the router, you can collect a lot of useful information to the customers or to the client, of course.
Again, same, another virus that we collect in one customer. So, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And now I have, it's not good because we capture a private key. So,
this is a Bitcoin botnet. We capture the private key for this Bitcoin botnet and access this Bitcoin botnet. And we find like 3,000 machines infected with this Bitcoin botnet. It's a pretty weird stuff because maybe some zero-day flash, this Bitcoin are exporting in a client-side way. We're going to make some strange here because this is we find this Bitcoin miner in 3 customers ours in Brazil. But why the connection to China Bitcoin miner to these customers in Brazil? Of course, they are doing a lot of network scanning on network inside, like some iframe with malicious flash files and exploiting these malicious flash files to infect these machines and gain to this botnet. We not make some more approach to this because it's a huge botnet and change the IP every time. It's a good stuff to analyze from threat intelligence. This is here is Baidu. We find the JS script, cm.js script in a lot of machines, a lot of hosts like this, ca7c.com. These JavaScripts collect a lot of information from the client side from users like Flash version, browse version. Why Baidu is collecting these? This is the answer. We got not the. This is the question, of course. We got not the answer, but it's really strange because Baidu is gonna very aggressive to our websites, of course. If you find some results in Google or you put this URL in Google, you see a lot of JavaScript with a lot of potential code or remote code inside the client side for exporting the people, like I said, with Flash 0 day or something like that.
Again, after exploit a customer, we find a little bit strange connections to a 7 UK that again another CNC. So, but in this case, we have tons of screenshots and logs. So if I guess if you put the address is still working, and this files is just the log of the command line that the attacker sent to the zombies machine. If in this case we collect tons of credentials and information about that users.
Yeah, this particular case, as Joaquim said, this is hosted on an island server. I don't know why, but this is like more.
No.
This is what?
No, this is hosted in UK.
UK,
but
of course.
I will show you in the next slide. So we can find this when I just me, sniffing a router from Ireland that I build a mini NSA at home. So
Be careful this thing.
okay. And we built this and collect tons of data from this house with specific times that the users access some forums, some blogs, and I have this data, but here not. If you can see, please go to Brazil and there is.
He got a lot of access to jihad forums, a lot of pictures from Irish guys make some like raid meeting. I don't know if he's like some jihad or anything else, but it's strange, of course.
Fire in some flags.
Yeah, but he found a picture like a United States flag with fire, of course, shit like that. This is pretty interesting here. We got some huge botnet from Warriors. It's still working. If you access the URC here and join in this channel, Elite Warriors. Of course, this is common name from botnet from Farmer and from Warriors. Have a lot of.
To be clear, in Brazil it's not illegal, so maybe he is.
In this channel, you have a lot of information like movies, music, software.
So we have some numbers of course, it's not come from the customers. We have some metrics here, and in one day we collect more data than the Brazilian intelligence agency in 50 years. So it's very, very fun.
Of course, this approach is some.
I changed the approach, and I don't think in customers. I'm just thinking in, okay, my target is not my customers. My target is now my enemies. So I changed this approach, and using a very limited infrastructure, I scanned some countries looking for
Cisco,
or Cisco 1, 2, 3 with password, and insert these routers in Mimosa and start to collect in specific time. So I collect 1 megabyte per hour from each router.
We have to search some sponsor to buy to us hard drive because a lot of terabyte data in your home will not have this. But this is teeny approach here. We show just with 300 routers is a little piece of network that you can do with Mimosa. Of course, we make some numbers here, as Joaquim said. It's like a joke. It's like we collect more data than Brazilian NSA. Of course, the Brazilian NSA don't collect 1 kilobyte
We have one
per day. Here you can build like some. Imagine this scenario. You can rent a house, put some guys in this house with some, of course, infrastructure like a lot of terabyte data, a lot of guys hacking or make some scanners, and you get a lot of useful information to these routers like Cisco. If you're going to show them, of course, you find a lot of Cisco routers, this easy access. Of course, some of these routers is like HoneyNet, of course, but it's useful to capture this data and analyze, of course. The future work here is added to support another device such as MikroTik and Juniper. MikroTik has the same functionality to export to a remote location. Juniper has a hard drive inside the router. This is more cool because you not need to export the data. You can analyze the data inside the router, armazen the data inside the router. A dashboard for a better visualization of sensitive data, and other attack options like brute forcing, CVE, XXX, I don't know what, these CVE to exploit these MikroTik or Juniper or some zero-day CVEs to access the router.
To privilege escalation.
Yeah, to privilege escalation. So thank you. It's a quick talk. We're gonna to thank you some guys like Julio Alto, Ulises, Luis Eduardo, Nico, and some guys, and NSA for the insight, of course. Dave, of course.
And here we have the mini NSA template. We have the Middle West. So we have some points of capture inside the Elastic with Kibana. We have that already.
This is Joaquim hack.
Yes.
This is the result from his scanner, and he put here some routers from the fire place, of course, Iron and some place like that.
Pakistan. So, but we have the new version of Mimosa, that here we have a flow of the data collector, the data collector. We have the source destination protocol. In this case, it's a router inside the Iron. So we can track the origin, the source, and the destination. We can have, of course, we have the packets, and we can work in parsing these files, looking for specific information, looking for files, looking for credentials, looking for HTTP cookies, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Something I have to talk here, like in our print test, we were able to extract some useful VoIP information. Like we get some RTP protocol and extract these voice calls, of course. We get a lot of funny talks and passwords about the talk. The guy called to the guy, hey, my password access to my network is blah, 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 blah. And we collected this way in RTP protocol and get these useful information, of course. So that's it.
That's all. Thank you so much.
I think we have probably time and life force enough in us for one question.
I make a route to Brazilian embassy if you have some problem.
So, I see nodding. I don't know if that's the signal that I have a question or there's someone nod. Okay. All right, well, in that case, if you guys remember, I mentioned earlier about lunch, how we'd be splitting into 2 groups. That doesn't mean everybody except for one person in one group. So there's going to be girls, is what they decided to be called. They'll be women, handling you papers that will tell you directions and the name of the restaurant that you will be eating at as you walk out the door. So please do so. Enjoy food. We will see you in 1 hour.
I don't know.